Well, it is an honor and a privilege to be here, Pastor Jeff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And also thank you for the privilege of getting to kick off this new series called Cautionary Tales, Wisdom from Life's Woes. And I don't know if you know what a cautionary tale is or if you would like connect the dots because, I had to Google it and figure it out. But a cautionary tale is just a story that's told to warn an audience of a specific danger. Now, here's kind of the messed up thing. We often tell these stories to children, okay? Like this happened in my childhood, maybe in yours. Maybe you've replicated it and told it to your children, but stories like Little Red Riding Hood, like this girl's just trying to take her grandma something and she's like being chased by a predator the whole time. This is horrible, horrible stuff. The Three Little Pigs, right? Like it's just this bully that keeps blowing up. They're just trying to build a house and they just keep getting their house blown over. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Like we literally tell our children, if you lie, we're not going to believe you and then a wolf is going to come and eat you. This is jacked up. And maybe the worst one of all, Hansel and Gretel. Right, like this sweet old lady just wants to like invite you in and then she's going to try to cook you and eat you? What the heck? Craziness. And these are all, stories that maybe we heard and we laugh about now, but I remember as a kid being terrified, like, is there really a wolf that's going to come and eat me if I lie? Like, I don't know what to do here. And as I got older, I realized that wasn't real, but what I have realized also as I've gotten older, that it's not always easy to get around wise people, but what I have learned is that we can get into the Bible and we can read about wise people. And so this morning, as I launch this series, I'm going to be jumping around in the Book of Proverbs, but I wanted to start in the Book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 7. And if you've got one of the Lifepoint Bibles, we have them for sale in the lobbies, but we're on page 544 to begin. And here's what it says. It says, the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Seems pretty simple to me, hopefully for you as well, that like, hey, listen, if we want to gain wisdom in life, if we want to start this path of wisdom, then we need to get it. And so today, we're going to kind of go through this book. Part of my job today is to set up the series and let you know what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to be in this book of Proverbs for the whole month of July. And I want you guys to know a couple things off the jump. One, we're going to have a verse that we're going to talk about every week, and it's found in Proverbs 8, verse 35, so just a couple pages over. And here's what it says. It says, this is wisdom speaking, "For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord." So those who find wisdom will find life and receive favor from the Lord. So a couple things to know just about the book of Proverbs. If you're taking notes this morning, you can write these down. If you're not taking notes this morning, you can write these down. And here's what you need to know about the book of Proverbs. It's also known as the book of wisdom. Proverbs is written by King Solomon, who's believed to be the wisest man that ever lived. So a good author to write a book about wisdom is the guy who's the most wise ever. Often throughout the book of Proverbs, you'll see that wisdom is often referred to as a woman. Okay, so Proverbs 1:20 says this. It says, "Out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. She raises her voice in the public square." So wisdom is obviously a mom, okay? Just kidding. It's a joke. We can laugh in church. But I started I already knew that women, you're a little bit smarter than us as guys. It's facts. It's okay. Men, we can admit it. But I wanted to share something with you that I thought was fascinating. So I just decided this week, let me Google, why are women smarter than men? Okay? And don't do it right now, but go ahead and do this later. This is great, okay? When you Google this, you'll find a series of pictures that show up that prove why women are smarter than men, okay? And I just got a couple of them. I figured, hey, I'll share them with you this morning. So here's the first one. Check this out. These guys are painting. I don't know if you could tell, my man's got a ladder leaned up against a ledge. And this other guy, I don't really know what he's doing holding it, because, and I thought this was crazy. It looks like he's wearing a surf shirt, does it not? So, hey, Carolina Beach, I don't know if that's y'all. I don't know if that's how you roll down there, but, that was crazy. The next one, this guy's just trying to get his hedges trimmed. And, this is definitely a Leelander, okay? So, they're like, let me get a big machine and put but that's crazy. And I kind of want to try it, okay? Like, it's borderline cool. And before we throw out the third one, let me preface it with this. I know you look at me and you think, this guy could help me move. I bet he's not busy next Saturday. He can help me move some stuff. I hate helping people move, okay? I love you. I hate helping you move your couch and all the heavy things that you have. But this third picture made me think of this. This was like my whole childhood, okay? So these guys are like, hey, we're going to move this couch. And they're smart, right? Like we got, 3 guys up top and 2 to catch it? It seems right. My biggest question is, why does my man not have a shirt on? Like, is that going to help him catch the couch? Like, I don't know. But women, you're smarter than us. We already know it, but that just helps prove it. But then one of the other things that you're going to notice in this is that often in the book of Proverbs, it's going to sound like a father talking to a son. Okay, so you're going to read things like this in Proverbs 1:8. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Now, this also sounds like something I say in my house. Like, hey, listen to my instruction, but also make sure you do what your mom's saying, okay? So, because again, men, we're not that smart. Like, we give some advice and, hey, let's listen to the women. I'm kidding, it's fine. But here's what's crazy about the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs talks to 3 main characters throughout the whole book. And what I want to do today is kind of lay the foundation of these characters, and then I want to help us identify where we're at in this journey. So the 3 characters that are found woven throughout the entire book of Proverbs are these 3: the wise, the fool, and the simple. The wise, the fool, and the simple. Now the wise, these are those who seek out, listen, and obey to instructions of the Lord. The wise, often in the book of Proverbs, you see that they are righteous, they're upright, they're the people who are listening to the instructions that are being given to them, and they're not just listening, they're applying them. They're using what they've learned, so they're called the wise. In fact, if we flip just a couple pages over to Proverbs 13:20, it says this, it says, walk with the wise and become wise. Pretty simple, right? Like, hey, if you want to be wise, if you want to be smart, get around wise people. The second one that we see is the fool. And those are the people who ignore the Lord's instructions. They're often referred to in the book of Proverbs as dangerous people to be around. You might write a cautionary tale about one of these people in the book. And the second part of verse 20 says, for a companion of fools suffers harm. So, if you walk with the wise, you'll become wise. And if you're friends with a fool, you're going to suffer harm. Seems pretty simple to me. The third one, speaking of simple, is the simple. And these are the people who know what to do, but they don't apply what they know. And if we were honest in this room, if we were honest online or whatever campus you're at today, I would venture to bet in a lot of areas in our lives, we fall into the trap of the simple. It's not that we don't know what to do. It's rather that we just don't do what we know we're supposed to do. For instance, I know going to the gym is really good for me. But I also know that a smash burger from Mess Hall is really good as well. Now they have milkshakes. They got tater tots. And I'm gonna be honest, if I'm gonna spend an hour somewhere, I would much rather spend it at mess hall than at the CrossFit gym. Because listen, I know looking at me, you're surprised, right? I look like a CrossFitter. But when I go to CrossFit, I don't go to CrossFit because I want to go to CrossFit. I go to CrossFit because I want to be able to put on my jeans tomorrow, okay? I want to be healthier. I want to be able to run around with my kids as they get older. And the problem is, I think often in life, we fall into the trap of being simple. Being the people that know what we should do, but we don't do what we know we should do. In fact, Proverbs 14:15 says it like this. It says, "The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps." I'm just going to let that one sink in for a second. The prudent give thought to their steps. So this morning, as I open up this series, I want to preach a message to you that I've titled "The Road Less Traveled." The road less traveled. Yes, all of that was my intro. So now we're getting into the message. The road less traveled. There's a famous poem written by Robert Frost, and it's called The Road Less Traveled. He stole that from me. But at the very end of his poem, he says these words. He says, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled. And that has made all of the difference." My prayer as I was preparing for this and as I've been here today, my prayer for each of us is that we would see that there is a road of wisdom that we can all get on and we can stay on and we can go down this life, and at the end of our lives we'll say, it made all the difference. In fact, in the New Testament, in the book of Matthew, Jesus is talking and he says, he's talking about these two roads. He's talking about a narrow road and a broad road. And he says, broad is the one that many are on and many go down, but narrow is the path that few go down, yet they find life. So today I want to talk to us about a couple things. I want to talk to us about how, if we're not on the road of wisdom, how do we get on the road of wisdom? But then also, if we're on the road of wisdom, how do we stay on it? Because how many of you know there's lots of distractions, there's lots of things that happen in life that try to get us to get off where we're going. I don't know about you if you've ever taken a road trip. I've got 4 kids, so we drive everywhere because flying is expensive. But I'm from Orlando, Florida originally. My wife and I and our 4 kids will actually drive to and from Orlando 3 times this year. And there's lots of different things that get in the way on our drive. So for instance, if I were to grab my phone out and say, hey, I'm not going to say her name because then she'll talk to me, but hey, give me directions to Orlando. She would pull up maps and she would give me directions, and she would say it would take me 8 hours and 32 minutes to get to my destination in Orlando. She lies. Because she doesn't know that I got 4 kids. And she doesn't know that on my way to Orlando, I'm going to run into this place where Cracker Barrel and Walmart had a love child. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know I'm talking about Buc-ee's, okay? Now, listen, I told you I have 4 kids. So getting in and out of a Buc-ee's with 4 kids is a task. Getting it like all 6 of us back out is a task in and of itself. But here's the crazy part. On my route down 95 from Leland to Orlando, I passed 3 Buc-ee's. 3 of them. And they have the cleanest bathrooms. They got hot brisket on the bar. They got everything, right? And here's what's so true in your life and mine. We get on a road and we know where we're going, but we get caught up on the distractions on the way. And here's what I've learned about distractions. They often cost more and take longer than we ever thought they would. I go into Buc-ee's thinking we're just going to go to the clean bathrooms. I walk out spending $200, and I've got like keychains. I don't even have a keychain. I've got like T-shirts that I'm never going to wear. And so is true in life. We say, hey, this is the year I'm going to do this. We say, hey, I'm going to get on the right path this year. And we end up settling for a distraction, something off our original path. And it costs more, and it takes longer than we ever thought it would. So here's what I want to do today. I want to lay out 3 things that I think if I do and you do, will help us get on the right path and stay on the right path. The first one is this. We have to get in the Word. We got to get in the Word. You see, the Bible is not just a book, but rather, I would argue it's an instruction manual for life. You're struggling in your relationships? Go to the Bible. You're struggling with parenting? Go to the Bible. Your finances are out of control? Go to the Bible. Hey, I don't know what career path to go down. I don't know what my next step in life is. Go to the Bible. In fact, what's crazy, right? I got the opportunity to speak on July 2nd. Does anybody know how many days there are in the month of July? 31. Great. Anybody know how many chapters there are in the Book of Proverbs? 31. Great. You guys, that's a smart crowd. I'm glad I'm with you guys. I'm with the wise so I can become wise. So here's a challenge that I want to lay out to everyone, because we say it like this here at Lifepoint. You hear Pastor Jeff say this all the time. When we get in God's Word, God's Word does what? It gets in us. So like there's a verse where it's like, I've hidden your word in my heart. But you can't hide words in your heart if you don't read the words. If Philippians 4:13 is the only verse you have, you're not going to be ready for everything that's going to happen in life. The Bible is the only book that when you read it, it reads you back. It tells you the things that you don't want to hear, but the things that are going to make you the best version of you. So check this out. Proverbs chapter 4. Says this, verses 5 through 7. It says, get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she'll watch over you. Because the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. See, there's a price that you and I have to pay to get wisdom. It says, though it costs you everything, get wisdom. I don't know if you had the opportunity to ever sit at the foot of your grandparents' rocking chair, right? Why do grandparents always sit in rocking chairs? I don't know, but I remember as a young kid sitting at the foot of my grandpa's rocking chair and just listening to him tell stories of being a Marine and listen to him tell me stories of being a parent and all of these things. And I didn't understand at that age that I was gaining wisdom just listening to him. But I feel like the book of Proverbs is that opportunity for you and I. It's for us to just sit at the foot of Jesus, the foot of King Solomon, and just hear wisdom. The second thing you and I have to do is that we need to get wise counsel. Now, here's what I want everyone to do. Grab your phones out. Go ahead. Well, yes, I told you to get your phone out in church. Now, if you have an Android, I don't know how to help you, okay? I don't know. You might have to download something to even unlock it. I'm not sure how that works. But for those of you who have real cell phones, Apple users, go ahead and open your favorites. And I just want you to take a quick inventory of your favorites list. See, because the Bible says that wise walk with the wise, and you'll become wise. But if your favorites list is people that just tell you what you want to hear, that's not wise people. Go ahead and open your text messages. Look at the last few texts you've sent. Are those wise people, or are those people that just tell you what you want to hear? Maybe today, some of you just need to go ahead and take some people off your favorites list. I'm not going to call them first anymore. The people who actually love you and care about you the most aren't the people that's going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. Well, hey, think about this. They're the people that are going to help keep you accountable for what you're doing. You know, you've got that friend who hates their husband, and you call her to vent about your husband. That's not wise counsel. Or fellas, you've got that single friend that's like, bro, you can't be tied down by the ball and chain anymore. You need to get out and live a little. She's holding you back. Delete his phone number. Don't ever talk to him again. Or maybe you've been struggling to find a job, and you just don't know what to do, and no job is ever good enough or has anything, and you've got that one friend that's like, yeah, they don't treat you right, and yeah, they don't. Maybe you just need to stay planted in a job and work the way through it to get to where you need to go. But you have to have the right people around you. It's why we talk about small groups at Lifepoint all the time. You can't do life alone. Life was never meant to be done in these rows. It was meant to be done in circles. And so maybe your next step in getting around wise people is joining a small group. Maybe some of you have so much wisdom and you don't ever share it with anyone. And what a shame to think that all of that wisdom is going to die when you die. Maybe you need to lead a group. Well, I don't know if I can lead a group. Nobody ever knew if they could lead a group. You know how every group leader started? Not leading a group. Everybody who's ever led a group had a first time leading a group. And maybe today, right now, you just need to go to lifepointnow.com/info, and you need to get registered to sign up to lead a group this fall. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe that's your next step today. Because a companion of fools will suffer harm. Here's the third thing you and I need to do. We got to get focused. We have to get focused. I don't know if you've ever been downtown Wilmington, and you're walking around and you see the little horses going around with the carriage and all that. And then, if you're like me, what you happen to catch is not a whiff of the horse, but you catch a whiff of the waffle cones at Kilwin's. It's good stuff. But I've always looked at the horses. I've never done it because I just haven't ever wanted to pay $150 for me and my 4 kids to do it. I don't know how much it really costs. I'd rather spend $150 at Kilwin's. But what you'll notice is on each and every one of those horses, they have these things called blinders, and they're up on their head like this. And I did a little research I thought I knew what a horse blinder was, but I just wanted to make sure I gave you guys the right information. Here's what it says. It says, horse blinders are in place to keep horses focused on what's in front, encouraging them to pay attention to the race rather than the distractions. Some of you today, what you need to walk out of this room with is that you got to get focused. You need to get some blinders on. You need to get tunnel vision, because January 1st, you said, this is the year I'm going to lose weight. It's July 2nd. And you're heavier than you were in January 1. And I don't care, but if you say you're going to do something, be a person of your word and do it. Some of you said, hey, this is the year I'm going to get my money right. I'm going to do money God's way. I'm doing the Dave Ramsey plan. I'm going to get my emergency fund. I'm going to do everything. And then you're like, but Apple released a new watch. And it's ultra. And it's indestructible. And I have to have it. Or maybe you're like me and you're like, They just keep releasing more Jordans. Listen, can I tell you what the enemy's tactic will always be in your life? It's to get you distracted. It's to get you to question what you're doing and to get you distracted. He started in the garden. He said, did God really say that? We need to get some blinders on. As God's people, we've got to stay focused on what is ahead of us. I love in Galatians 5, it says this. It says, you were running a good race, and who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth? Was it Buc-ee's? What was it? Because there was something each and every one of us said at the beginning of this year I'm doing this, and something has cut us off. And here's what I can tell you. Life is going to be full of distractions. Life is going to be full of opportunities that sometimes dress themselves as this incredible opportunity you have. And what it is the enemy, John 10:10, trying to steal, kill, and destroy. There's another verse in the Bible where it talks about that he's a prowling lion looking for those who he can devour. What I can promise you is that you will have opportunities and distractions show up. But the great thing is that you and I have the choice to stay the right way. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, some of my favorite verses in this whole entire book, says this. It says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. You see, I told you I have 4 kids. My oldest will be 11 in November, which is crazy to me that I almost have an 11-year-old. He's almost as tall as me now. But I remember early on when Truett was young, and he was like, Dad, I want to learn how to ride a bike. And I was like, okay, we'll just buy him a bike with training wheels. It helps him learn. And pretty quickly I realized that every time Truett rode his bike, he rode it kind of leaning, right? You've ever seen a kid with training wheels? They just like lean to this side, and then when they turn, it flops over and they lean to this side. You know what I'm talking about? I think training wheels might be one of the worst things ever for helping somebody learn how to ride a bike. Because I remember when we took the training wheels off, this kid was like trying to ride his bike like this the whole time, and I'm holding the back of the seat. I'm like, dude, come, like, go straight. What is wrong with you? You've been riding forever. Why are you leaning? And this picture is all I can see when I read this verse, that you can't lean on your own understanding. Some of you, you're like, man, I'm on this path and life's going to be great and I'm so ready, but I found this loophole at work. And it's going to help me get a little bit further faster, and I'll be able to put a little bit more money away, and we'll get to go to Colorado and go skiing if I do this. Some of you are like, I have been praying for a godly man. And it's been 3 months. And he has not showed up. I've seen the ones at church. They are not it. So I'm going to go to the club. They're dressed to impress there. And what you're doing is you're leaning on your own understanding. You're trying to make something happen. Listen, I don't have time to do it today, but we could go through this book and see all of these people who tried to make something happen, and it never ended well. But you know where it does end well? Those who trust in the Lord. Those who say, hey, God, your timing is not my timing. And here's what I would challenge you. Maybe today you're single or single again, and you're like, I'm just waiting for the right person. Here's what I can tell you to do. You just stay on your road and go after Jesus, and one day someone's going to come up next to you on that same road, and you're going to be like, hey, and you're going to be like, hey, and be like, hey, and it's going to work out. But when you start looking at all the billboards and all the flashy things off the path that you know you need to be on, those are the paths that lead to destruction. Stay focused. Keep your blinders on. Can I give you 3 caution signs to look out for? The first one, these are things that are going to show up while you're on the right path. They're going to try to get you off the path. Here's the first one. Everyone's doing it. You've been single for so long. Just get on one of those dating apps. Everyone's doing it. You've been passed up for promotion after promotion after promotion. Just dig up some dirt on somebody. Everyone's doing it. Oh, your kids are like being crazy and like rambunctious? Just buy them iPads. Everyone's doing it. You don't have to spend time with them anymore. The second caution sign, the next new thing. Whenever you get that little notification that says upgrade available, just let it like, right? Like just, not every upgrade is horrible, right? Like if you have an iPhone 4, it's probably time to upgrade. But like that next new model of the car comes out and you're like, well, it has red stitching in the seats and your car's perfectly fine. You're like already in debt. You've got a car payment of like $1,200 a month and you're like, oh, it's great. Watch out for the next new thing. And this third one, I think this captures a lot of us most of the time. There's always tomorrow. These are the famous last words. I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, Monday, I'm going to start eating right. Well, Tuesday is the 4th, so we'll grill out. Wednesday, I'm going to start eating right. Can't celebrate freedom without, right? Like, let me tell you what. Tomorrow is the enemy of your best. Well, I've already made mistakes today, so I might as well just wait until tomorrow. What? Let me talk to all the parents in the room. Like, if your kid messes up and they lie to you, do you say, it's okay, just lie the rest of the day, we'll start over tomorrow? No. We don't use that logic in any other, like, your car breaks down and you're like, it already broke down today, just fix it tomorrow. We don't ever function like that in any other area other than the things we don't want to do. And let me tell you, like, you'll never want to do the right things all the time. You won't. But my question for you today is this: what path are you on? Because the road that you and I are on is important. And I've been talking a lot about the path of wisdom, but can I tell you, wisdom has a name, and his name is Jesus. And if you're not on that path, where Jesus is the main thing in your life, the main focus, friend, can I tell you the whole reason you're here today is because he's been pursuing you. And I would argue that you're not here today by accident or chance or coincidence, but rather you're here today for a divine appointment with your Creator, who desperately wants to have a relationship with you, who's not mad at you, but he's madly in love with you. So much so that he sent his only son to die on a cross for you and for me, so that we could have a path to a relationship with God. Remember that verse, Proverbs 3, where it says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart? See, we all have trust issues, and we all would say, well, I don't know, whatever, but you put trust in things every day. You walked into this room this morning, and you put trust in that chair before you sat down. When you push-started your car, or if you're old school like me, you put the key in, you trusted that when you turned it, it was going to turn on. My question for you today is, Have you put your trust in Jesus? And if you can't say yes to that question, man, my prayer has been that today would be the day you would decide to say yes to Jesus and to follow him. But there's also another group in this room, and what you've been doing is that you've been leaning on your own understanding. You've read something in here and then you've said, maybe this way. Today, my prayer would be that you would say, I'm not going to lean on my own understanding, but I'm going to submit to him and let Jesus make my path straight. Would you pray with me this morning? Every head bowed, every eye closed this morning. And here's what I know. In this room and at every campus or online this morning, there's someone here today that says, hey, Barry, I don't know for sure that I have a relationship with Jesus. Today's your day. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not next Easter or Christmas. It's today. So in the quietness of this moment, if you'd say, I've never made that decision, would you pray this prayer with me? You can pray it out loud or you can just pray it in your head. The Bible says that God knows your heart and he knows your thoughts. And what matters is if you mean it, and if you mean it, he'll hear it. You say this, you say, God, I need you. I'm so sorry for the mistakes I've made. Jesus, thank you for dying for me, making a path for me to have a relationship with you. I give myself to you. And from this day forward, as best as I know how, I want to live for you. And with every head bowed and every eye still closed, in just a moment, I'm going to count to 3. And when I count to 3, if you prayed that prayer with me this morning, would you lift your hand up? And here's what I'm going to ask you to lift your hand. 1, I want to celebrate with you. But 2, one of our ushers is going to come and they're going to put a card in your hand. And your host will come out and give you instructions with that card. But listen, friend, it's the greatest decision you'll ever make. So if you prayed that prayer with me this morning, just lift your hand high when I get to 3. 1, Barry, I prayed that prayer with you. 2, I'm not turning back. 3, I asked Jesus today to be my Savior. Hands going up all around the room. They're coming, they're going to put a card in your hand. Believing that's happening at every campus today. Well, Lifepoint, let's do this. Let's put our hands down. And would you help me just congratulate everyone who prayed that prayer?